Hi guys, thanks for joining me today. I'm Marilyn and my channel's Making with Marilyn. Now I do all things crafty, but on today's video I'm going to make a sublimation tumbler to send to my daughter. So I'm going to use some hippo tumblers. I'm going to use some hippo sublimation paper. In my printer I have hippo ink. And then I made a little tumbler holder. I have a video on this. If you're interested in that, you can check that out. I'll link to that video as well as products in the video description below. Then I'm also going to use this pink Makaru tumbler press. So if you are interested in seeing this process, go ahead and stick around. Now here's my little cat print, and I got this off of Creative Fabricate. It wasn't meant to be a tumbler wrap, but I just made it the size I needed it. Now I printed this at 8.25 tall, 9.4 wide. Then after I do that, I just trim off until I get it to the exact right size I want it. Now I'm going to set this aside because the next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and clean my tumbler. Now, if you get these, make sure that you take this out of the inside. This is something you can stick to the bottom after you've sublimated it. So to clean my tumblers, all I do is I either spray a little bit of alcohol on there or just straight onto a paper towel. Now, you don't want your print to get any of this on it. It's going to mess it up. So that's why I moved my print to my back table. I'm just going to clean this off and then find a dry part of the towel, dry it off, and then I'll give it a minute or so just in case there's any remnants of moisture on that. All right, so I gave that just a little bit of time to dry all the way. And then I want to touch it as little as possible because you don't want to get any grease or hand lotion or anything like that on it that might affect how well it sublimates. So here's what I like to do. I like to turn it over so that the side you drink out of is down, and then also my print will go down like that. Then I like to go ahead and wrap it around it. Now my print's just a little bit too tall, but that's going to be okay. I need to make sure that I have at least one side with absolutely no white from the paper. So this side has a tiny bit of white there. That needs to go on top. This one has absolutely no white. That's really important. Otherwise, you're going to get a white strip on your tumbler. All right, so what I'm going to do, and I will warn you, I use a whole lot of tape. If you don't need to, if yours turn out great without it, then just ignore it and pretend like you like the amount of tape that I used. But I do use a lot of tape. So I attach my tape to one side of the paper, then I'm going to pull it really tight, holding this side tight, and just tape that down. Then I'll do the same thing either on the top side or the bottom side. It doesn't matter where you go next. I'm going to adhere it to one side and then again really pull those together while I tape that down. And then just repeat on the bottom. All right, now I want to make sure that my paper extends all the way to the top, and I like it to be just a tiny bit above the top. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take this one piece, fold that paper over tight, and then attach that to the inside of the tumbler. Now here's where me using a lot of tape comes in. I'm going to have this just about even with the top of the paper. And I'm not going to pull real tight, snugly, but not real tight. All right, there's my first set of tape. Then on my next piece, I have that overlapping the bottom piece of tape by, I don't know, about 40%. Okay, so I'm going to hold that tight, and I'm really going to stretch this tape so that there's a little bit of a rebound effect, and the natural thing is for it to pull the paper toward the tumbler. Then I'm just going to go around and push it straight over and attach it to the inside of the cup. Now again, you may not need to do this. When I first started out, I had all kinds of issues with the tops and the bottoms, and so I started using this process from a YouTube person online that I saw called Industrial Fringe. So either he gets the credit or it's his fault I used too much tape. But this works for me, so I keep doing it. Tape's cheap, tumblers are not. Now I'm going to do the same process down here. If I wanted to, I could trim some of that off. And that probably would be the wise thing to do, because I'm going to pull my color around and it's going to get on the bottom. So give me a minute to trim that down just a little bit. Now this is not the best way to do this. The best way would have been to get it right before I taped it on my tumbler. But that didn't happen, so we're going to work with this. Then I even like to go back around and push down on both sides of the seam and around the top and around the bottom. Again, if you don't need to do this from your experience, then just skip this step. But if you find that you're having issues with your tumblers, it might be something to try. Now, before I even turn my tumbler press on, I want to go ahead and dry fit this, or cool fit this maybe. What I'm doing is I'm just making sure I have the pressure at the right amount. Now, as everything heats up, it gets harder to close this door. So I'm going to go ahead and back it off just a little bit, close it up, and then I'm going to look down this line right here just to make sure there's equal distance, because you can tighten this side independently of this side. Now the instructions tell you no heating up without mug. So don't do it the way I do it. Do it the way the instructions are. But I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. And right now I have this heating up to 190 Celsius and I have the timer set for 50 seconds. Now somebody in a comment or in a live somewhere told me how to change this over to Fahrenheit, and I don't remember what they said. If you know how to, leave me a comment and let me know. Now what I like to do is use little paper cradle. This is just butcher paper, and I do it to protect my heat press. Then I want my seam either at the very front or the very back. Doesn't matter to me which, but this time I'll put it in the front since that's the way the tumbler's already oriented. So I put my tumbler and my paper in there, and then go ahead and close this up. Now when I close the handle, the timer started counting down on its own. When it goes off, I'm going to open it, rotate the tumbler 180 degrees, and close it right back up. Now I rotate it 25% again, or a quarter of a turn. And I used to do it for 20 more seconds. I'm just going to do it about 10 more seconds. Then I'll open it again. And this last time, I'm going to have that seam straight up to the top. And I'll do this again just for about 10 seconds. Now, I don't usually let my tumblers cool down. I like to go ahead and get the paper off just as soon as they're done. And I just put a little slit in the tape. And that allows me to pull it off. Then the same thing at the bottom. Now, before I take this all the way off, I want to check it. That looks cute. I like that. All right, so let's go ahead and take this all the way off. Now, even though these are heat-resistant gloves, my hand is still getting pretty warm. Now with my other hand, I'm trying to be really careful not to even touch the tumbler so much. I'm just trying to pull at the tape. Now, if you snip at it like I just did, be really careful. Ooh, that was hot. That you don't cut into or scratch the actual tumbler. And it's starting to cool down quite a bit. Oh my goodness, look at that. That is beautiful. Now I'm looking at the camera and to me the cats are upside down. It kind of scared me. And even my seam, this is considered seamless paper. And the seam is right here. I see a little bit up here. I think that's paper remnants on it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Let me clean that off. But look at the seam. Look how nice that turned out. And there's the seam again. I love this. Turned out so cute. Okay, it's warm enough or cool enough I can handle it. You can see the bottom of it. See how good that top looks? I think she's gonna love it. Now don't forget, I'm gonna put links to a ton of this stuff as well as how I made this tumbler holder in the video description. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing that. And then before you leave, please hit that like button. That really does help me out and I really appreciate it. So thanks again for joining me, and until my next video, bye-bye.